Chomp.
Hi everybody and welcome back to You Are Supreme Toys. Today we got a pretty awesome review. Today we're going to be looking at the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mirage Comics 4-pack. This is inspired more by the Jim Lawson art, and it's freaking phenomenal. I typically am unable to get these 4-packs. The Turtle 4-packs are always selling out. When they release them, it doesn't matter what it is. The Turtles 4-packs, the Toon 4-packs, the Arcade Turtle 4-packs, the Classic Mirage 4-packs, the Coming Out of Their Shell Tour 4-packs, and most notably the TMNT Movie 3 Shogun Turtle 4-packs have all eluded me. So I had absolutely no hope in my mind that I was actually going to be able to secure this Mirage Turtles 4-pack. And fortunately, Target just happened to get it in stock. I ordered it the first time and the order was canceled. It came back in stock. I ordered it the second time and they actually shipped it to me, and I could not be happier. I have been excited to get this pack since it was revealed last year, and here it is in my hands. Now the first thing you'll notice is this amazingly beautiful Turtles mural on the front of the box, illustrated by Kevin Eastman himself, featuring all 4 turtles and the clone Shredders, a bunch of foot soldiers in the back, and Shredder hiding amongst them. This artwork is fantastic. This is just that classic Eastman style artwork that we all love. It's going to be a shame to have to throw this box away. I always throw the packaging away these days. I used to cut this stuff off and save the pictures and stuff, but I just don't have room for that and action figures. I have so many action figures that I just throw away all the boxes these days, and this one's gonna hurt to throw it away. So this is the front of the box. This artwork is fantabulous. I just can't get over how awesome and talented people can be. It's just amazing. Turn it to the side. We have the picture of 2 of the turtles' portraits. The back has all 4 turtles, as well as their various dynamic poses, fighting foot soldiers. And to be continued here on the bottom, all of these figures have seen release at this point. We've got the foot soldier. I can't remember what the foot soldier with the shroud is. Master Splinter. That Splinter is amazing. I've seen it in person and I already regret not picking it up. Zog, which I've been able to secure. I'm not really interested in the Mirage style Casey, and I hate the clones. So other than that Splinter and maybe a foot soldier, I am pretty much set with this. I got Zog earlier this year, so other than maybe Rat King and Leatherhead, which were shown at this San Diego Comic-Con, I'm pretty set with the Mirage style figures for the moment. Turn it to this side, we see 2 more of the turtles. This box is long. So this is where NECA always outshines themselves. The packaging is always top notch, and the figures 9 times out of 10 are top notch too. This is actually a foldable window. So there are 2 Velcro tabs right here at the top, and it lets down into this beautiful 4-pack. And this 4-pack is fantastic. I just I can't get over it. Here we have Raphael on the far right, followed by Donatello or Michelangelo, and then either Donatello or Michelangelo on this side, and then of course Leonardo on the far right. Now you will notice that all 4 of these figures are absolutely completely the same. These are the same sculpts minus the heads. The belts should be somewhat different depending on which weapons they use. We have a plethora of interchangeable hands, different bandanas if you want the over the shoulder look or the straight behind the back look. Their weapons are very nicely sculpted and painted. Raphael comes with his hood and of course an alternate arm, which I believe is also for Raphael. Now these are specifically styled after Jim Lawson's Ninja Turtles style artwork, and takes place during the Return to New York story arc. So let's close that up and open this guy up so we can get a gander at these beautiful action figures. That was ridiculous. Alright, that was absolutely ridiculous. It took me about 10 minutes to get those guys out of the package. There was like a pound of those plastic tabs holding them in there. As mentioned, all 4 figures are exactly the same sculpt, minus the heads and the belts on Leonardo and Donatello. In order, we have Leonardo, Donatello, who I presume is Michelangelo, and Raphael, just because he has the grittier teeth. As you will notice, although they are all the same sculpt, the scratches on their shells are different. So we bring Leonardo in here. You can see he's got all these little slash marks on his front shell and his back shell. Bring Donatello in here. He has less scratch marks than Leonardo, and so on and so forth. Each one has a different degree of scratches. The Michelangelo seems to have the most. If this is Michelangelo, maybe this is Raphael. I don't know, because it's really hard to tell the difference when they're not holding their weapons. I love the head sculpts on these guys. They are completely painted from head to toe. None of this is molded plastic. I don't know what colors they were molded in, probably green, but they're painted completely, and I love that. That's what adds that extra appeal to the figures that NECA produces. They tend to paint their figures entirely. It adds a certain level of quality to the overall appearance of the figures. You don't have anything overly glossy and standing out. As you can see, Leonardo has his scabbards on the back of his shell. It is firmly attached to the belt and the shell. This isn't an issue where you can exactly swap belts off of each figure, because the belt is glued here on the front and pegged into the back of the back shell. I love the ink pinstripes all over the figure that accentuate the sculpt and give him that extra gritty look, as if he has been drawn, penciled, and inked in a comic book. They included their tiny little turtle tails on their back right there. I'd be careful with those because they are small. They might want to break. They are articulated, so you can spin the tail if you want, which is pretty cool. As far as articulation is concerned, the head articulation is pretty awesome. He can look down pretty good. Looking up's a little bit difficult, but his range of motion with his head is pretty outstanding. The shoulders are going to stick a little bit right here at the top. It's pretty tight. That's about as far up as you're going to get out of them. And then, of course, they have their bicep swivel. This is the one issue that I find with NECA, seeing how their figures are completely painted. They do oftentimes have stuck joints. Keep that in mind. You might want to heat them up in water or use a heat gun. But once you break those joints loose, they should be fine. So he has the upper biceps, double jointed elbows, which actually blends pretty good considering they have elbow pads. It's not distracting like some of the other figures that might not have a pad there, and it's just, I feel like the double joints are sometimes too much of a breaking point to the structure of the figure. And then he has the hinged and swivel wrists. There is a hip bobble hidden behind the shell, so you can sort of get a twist at the waist and a bobble. It's better than the alternative, I think, which would have been a solid body structure with just leg articulation. From the side, it doesn't look too bad. It's from underneath the pelvis that it starts to kind of get distracting with this crotch piece right here, but I don't think we're going to be looking up their turtle skirts. They have a ball joint hip, which goes up pretty excellently, as well as a twist at the thigh, big chunky double jointed knees, and a hinged and rocker ankle. And this articulation is the same with all four guys, so I won't bother walking you through the rest of them. So considering how stocky these guys are and their shells, you could get some pretty nice poses out of them. I see absolutely no issues with the paint anywhere on either four of these figures. So here we'll bring in Donatello. He's got a more, I wonder what to do kind of look. His articulation is the same. He has a slot on the back of his belt for his bow staff, which fits in there pretty snugly. It would be pretty hard to tell these figures apart in some instances. As I mentioned, I am not sure if this is Michelangelo or Raphael. I want to say the one with the most scratches is probably Raphael, but their belts are completely the same, so they house their weapons completely the same down the side of the belt. For instance, Raphael's, you would just stick his size down the side of his belt like so, if you wanted. Or if you're Michelangelo, you could just stick his nunchucks down the side of his belt too. And they come with a plethora of accessories. Leonardo has his two katanas here. I love the paint apps on these. I love this bluish gray highlight on the back of the blade, that solid white on the very front. The paint apps on the hilts are fantastic with that wrapping and the pommels. These are a very flimsy, cheap feeling plastic. If you are not careful, you will break these. That is the one negative I have with NECA, is when it comes to their accessories, the paint is usually great, the sculpts are great, the quality is iffy. These aren't toys. When you're putting these in his hands, just be extra careful not to put any stress on the blades, or you will snap or bend them. Each turtle comes with a separate bandana that hangs it down behind the head instead of around the shoulder. And all four bandanas are the same, so you just have four of the same in case you want all four to have the bandanas behind their neck. They come with these three little shuriken stars, which are kind of interesting design. They look like those little blades you use to mark fabric. Donatello comes with his bow staff. The wrapping is around the very center of the bow staff. The paint is very good. Michelangelo has two nunchucks. The handles are pretty bland. They have some light overspray on them to make them look a little bit dingy. And they have these strings for the chains. And then Raphael has these two sides. The paint is pretty good on these. They're like a blue-gray color. And the handles are painted pretty well. Also, you have this hood, primarily intended for Raphael, but this just fits right over their head. And then we have an extra arm that has a band around it. This is a right arm, as designated by the R imprinted on the shoulder. So you have an extra right arm for whomever is wearing the hood, or for whichever turtle you want a banded arm on. Every turtle comes with a pair of gripping hands attached to them in the package. All the hands are exactly the same between each turtle. Aside from that, you get 8 extra hands. You get 2 straight hands. You get 2 more gripping hands. I believe these are intended for Raphael's size, so you can hold them, gripping him in a certain way. You have 2 closed fists, and then 2 grasping hands. So these guys are all decked out. You have a lot of options for them. This pack is pretty expensive. It was $150 plus tax at my Target. So I wound up coming out of pocket $160 for this set. Bring Leonardo in here. See how well his swords fit into his scabbards. It's a bit tricky. They slide right in. I would be cautious when doing this, as you could bend or crease the sword. Sometimes there's paint or gunk stuck in these things, and you might end up scratching them. They look good in there, though. They look really good in there. Are they damaged? Let's see. That one's good. This one's got a little bit of scuffing on it from inserting, so I wouldn't put these in and out the scabbards too often. That being said, he holds his swords pretty well. They're not very difficult to put in his hands, although they do not exactly hold firmly either, and there's not really any other options as far as hands to have them held tighter than that. Donatello's bow staff, as shown before, will slot right here in his belt. It is a bit tight to get in and out, so be cautious that you don't scratch that paint. The grip is not exactly strong on him either. He's not going to hold it very well at the ends, so you're going to want him to hold it towards the middle part of the bow staff. I think his bow staff might be a little too small. I wish it would have been a little bit bigger. Michelangelo's nunchucks hold pretty good. And then Raphael. If these extra hands are intended for him to hold his sai like this, it's not exactly a perfect fit. The fingers are a bit too big. So if you do that, I would advise heating them up a little bit before swapping them out. Other than that, they all hold their weapons relatively well, relatively easily. The bandanas, I'm kind of scared to try to swap these out, because although they're intended to swap out, they do swivel. By the way, the bandanas can swivel. I would be gentle with that and probably use heat to pry them out. Let's see if I can get them out without heat. They come out relatively easily. It's not too bad. Bit difficult to get them in. Oh. These are painted, so be cautious. You might stress or crack the paint in the plastic. Ooh. They do not. There he goes. There. Takes a little bit of effort, but you can swap the bandanas out and have them blowing in the wind. Oh, that looks really good. That's funny how such a simple change can make such a difference. We'll try to pop this bandana out. Let's see how that hood fits on him. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Now the arm should pop off this figure, and it does. It comes out pretty easily. I'd assume it would do the same for all four. Yep, goes in pretty good. And that elbow's stuck. There we go. Just want to see, I think, yeah, all the arms can pop off of these figures. So everything is really good with these guys. The paint is amazing, the sculpts are amazing, the accessories are just right. They're not too little or too much, I think. I love the extra hood and arm for Raphael or whoever. You can put the hood or arm on any 4 figures. All 4 heads are interchangeable. All the hands are interchangeable. You can do what you want with these guys. I would buy these again in a grayscale. So if they did these in black and white, I would probably pick them up again, because although the cover colors are amazing, everybody knows that the Mirage comics were not colored. They were black and white. So for comparison, I'm going to bring in Zog, who was released earlier this year. The amazing Triceraton Warrior. And they scale pretty nicely with him. This is a set of figures I'm so happy to get. All 4 of these Jim Lawson turtles with Zog. It's just amazing to me that after 30 years I actually have action figures of these versions of these characters, and I love them. They're just awesome. Zog is easily top 10 figures of the year for me. These turtles are not too far behind. I'm going to bring in the vintage reissue turtles from 2021. They are bigger, they are badder, they are better in every possible way. Unless you're just a very nostalgic boy. Let's bring in the Super 7 Ultimates, styled after the vintage Playmates toys. They have a bigger stature. The heads are bigger, but these guys are definitely more chunky. Leonardo, Donatello, and Raphael. This is a great set of figures. So yeah, this is a great set of figures. The price point hurts a bit. That's roughly $40 per figure, which, you know, the going rate for a single NECA turtle is around $35 to $45 depending on the scale. The 2-packs have been going for like $55 for like the Toon Turtles. So the higher price point, I feel like, is just because they know they can charge that, and people will buy these either way. I think it's a substantial markup of $20 to $25, where I feel like this could have been easily a $120 pack and everybody would have been happy. But I'm happy to have these in my collection. I think they look fantastic. These guys are going to go on a shelf right away, which does not happen to most of the figures I buy. Lots of times I buy something, it's not exactly what I want, and it gets put away in a box or set to the side for later. The sculpts, the paint, the accessories, all top notch. I had very little to no issues swapping out parts, hands, accessories, bandanas. Gosh, they're just nearly flawless action figures. For those of you who have been unable to secure a set of your own, I say be patient. They are popping up at Targets. Check your Targets regularly. Check the app. Make sure you have it set to your local store to see if they have them available for in-store pickup. If they do, order it online. Go pick it up in the store. If you can't pick it up through Target, don't jump on eBay and pay inflated prices just yet. NECA has been hearing the fans complain about availability for years now, and typically they make these figures available again on their NECA store for a short pre-order window, and some online retailers like Big Bad Toy Store and Entertainment Earth, etc., have been able to put NECA figures in stock that typically are store exclusives or event exclusives. So just be patient, keep your eyes open, check your retailers regularly, and hopefully you'll be able to get a set of your own without having to pay aftermarket prices. As mentioned, I had to order these guys twice, but the second time they did show up. This has been an unboxing and review of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mirage 4-pack Return to New York Jim Lawson art style figures from NECA Toys. And I am UR Supreme Toys. Thank you so much for watching.